I spent my childhood and adolescence as an introverted person. I didn't have friends. I didn't know how to form friendships. I didn't know how to create real connections with people in real life. I watched others talk effortlessly, laugh together, and form bonds, while I stayed on the sidelines, observing but never participating. At some point, I became interested in the idea of social skills. I thought that maybe there was something I didn't know, some secret knowledge that others had and I didn't. So I started reading books. I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read How to Talk to Anyone. I watched countless videos about confidence, body language, eye contact, and conversation techniques. And do you know what happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing changed. I knew the advice. I understood it intellectually. I could repeat it to others. But in real life, when I was actually with people, I was still the same person. Awkward, tense, disconnected. I couldn't understand why all this information wasn't helping me. For a long time, I thought the problem was that I wasn't trying hard enough, that I wasn't applying the techniques correctly, that I needed more tips, more tricks, more rules. Until one day, I stopped studying social skills and started studying psychology. I began focusing on human behavior, emotional dynamics, and the way people actually experience one another. And that's when everything became clear. I realized that most of what society tells us about social skills is focused on the surface. It's not that every piece of advice is completely useless, but most of it misses the real problem. Making eye contact, repeating someone's name, smiling at the right time, nodding your head. These are not the causes of charisma. They are, at best, side effects. The real problem wasn't that I didn't know what to do. The real problem was who I was being, my internal state, my emotional posture, the way I related to myself and to others. And once I understood that, I realized something very important. Being charismatic and being liked by people is actually much easier than most people think. Not because it requires tricks, but because it requires alignment. So I promise you this, if you watch this video until the end and you apply what I'm going to share, not mechanically, but honestly, people will start feeling drawn to you. They won't know exactly why. They won't be able to explain it, but they will want to be around you. Welcome to the first episode of Social Skills series. And today, we're going to talk about charisma. Charisma is not a mysterious talent. It's not something you're born with or without. Charisma is made of three elements: presence, warmth, and power. And it's very important to understand that these three elements must exist together. If one of them is missing or exaggerated, problems begin to appear. In this episode, we'll focus on the first two, presence and warmth. And later, we'll talk about power. Let's begin with the first element, presence. There is a well-known story often mentioned in psychology and leadership discussions. Two people were competing for leadership. When a journalist was asked about her impression of them, she said something very interesting. She said, "The first one makes me feel that he is the most important person in the room. The second one makes me feel that I am the most important person in the room. The one who won was the second." This story illustrates a crucial rule of charisma. You don't need to prove your strength to be charismatic. You need to make the other person feel strong, and this happens through presence. Presence means that when you are with someone, you are actually with them, not physically, but mentally and emotionally. Most people are never truly present. They are trapped inside their own heads. When someone speaks to them, they're not listening, they're planning. What should I say next? How do I sound? How do I look? Should I ask a question now? So let me summarize the most important rule of presence in one sentence. When someone is speaking, don't think about what you're going to say. Just listen. That's it. This advice sounds simple, but very few people actually apply it. When someone is talking, most people are waiting for their turn to speak. They're not curious, they're not open, they're just preparing their response. You might hear advice like, maintain eye contact, nod your head, smile, ask follow-up questions. These things can help, but only if they come naturally. If you're doing them while your mind is somewhere else, they're empty gestures. Presence is not about technique. Presence is about attention. When you truly listen, your body will naturally reflect it. Your eyes will engage. Your expressions will align. Your responses will come without effort. and the other person will feel it. You might ask, how will they know that I'm really listening? They will feel it. Humans are extremely sensitive to attention. When someone gives you real attention, you feel valued, and value is what people seek the most. Not admiration, not validation, but value. That's why, in group conversations, if you are the one person who truly listens, people will slowly start directing their words towards you. Without you trying, you'll notice that people open up more around you. They'll talk longer, they'll share more personal things, and later they'll say, I don't know why, but I feel comfortable talking to you. That is presence. The second part of presence is comfort. You must be comfortable wherever you are and with whoever you're with. Whether you're sitting alone in a cafe, standing in a group, or talking one-on-one, your body and mind should communicate ease, because discomfort is contagious. When you're tense, the other person unconsciously feels that tension and assumes something is wrong. If you're not comfortable, the other person may feel that you don't want to be there, or worse, that you don't want to be with them. Many people misunderstand comfort and think it's about posture, gestures, or memorized body language rules. But comfort doesn't start from the outside, it starts inside. Comfort means giving yourself permission to exist. Let me give you a simple example. Suppose you feel a sneeze coming. If your first thought is, I should suppress this, it would be embarrassing, you're not comfortable. You're censoring yourself. Comfort means spontaneity. It means understanding that you have the right to be yourself as long as you're not harming anyone. If you need to sneeze, sneeze. If you want to laugh, laugh. If you feel tired, let your body show it. Even if someone judges you, so what? This inner permission creates an energy of ease. And when you're at ease, others feel safe around you. Think about how you are around someone you're very close to, like a sibling or a parent. You're relaxed, you're natural, you're not performing. Charisma is bringing that same energy into other interactions. When you're comfortable, people around you relax too. They start acting more naturally, they feel closer to you, and closeness is the foundation of connection. So presence is simple. You listen deeply, and you allow yourself to be comfortable. That's it. Now let's move on to the second element of charisma, warmth. Warmth is kindness, affection, and emotional openness. But it's very important to understand something before we go deeper. Warmth does not mean being nice all the time. It does not mean agreeing with everyone. It does not mean praising people constantly or doing whatever they want. If you act nice only to be liked, people feel it, and what they feel is not warmth, it's insecurity and hypocrisy. That's why overly nice people are often disliked. Their behavior doesn't come from authenticity, it comes from fear. True warmth starts internally. People often believe that communication is about words, but in reality, words are only a small part of how we connect. What truly matters is tone, emotion, intention, and emotional alignment. People respond to how you feel about them more than to what you say. Have you ever talked to someone who said all the right things, yet you felt nothing? You couldn't explain it, but the interaction felt empty. That's because their emotional state didn't match their words. Your inner attitude toward a person always leaks out through micro-expressions, tone shifts, and subtle behaviors. You can't hide it. That's why warmth begins with how you see the other person. When you meet someone, especially for the first time, assume that they are a decent person. Not perfect, not extraordinary, just decent. Start from openness, not defense. This doesn't mean trusting blindly or ignoring red flags. It means not walking into interactions with hostility, suspicion, or indifference by default. When you feel genuine curiosity, appreciation, or goodwill towards someone, that feeling will be transmitted naturally. You won't need to force compliments or fake enthusiasm. Your presence will feel welcoming, and this creates emotional safety. Humans unconsciously mirror emotional states. If you're calm, others calm down. If you're tense, they become alert. If you want to be there, they feel wanted. Warmth is not something you perform, it's something you allow. The second aspect of warmth is giving. Giving is powerful. Sharing information, offering help, or giving advice adds value to people's lives. But here's the key: you give without imposing. Imagine a friend casually mentions that he wants to rent a house. He's not asking for help, he's just sharing. You happen to know a good website for rentals. Warmth doesn't mean staying silent. You can say, "There's a site I know that might help." And that's it. You don't push. You don't insist. You don't follow up. You don't check if he used it. You give once and you let go. Imposing advice turns warmth into control. Giving freely creates respect. People appreciate help when it's offered without pressure. The rule is simple. Give information. Let people choose. The third aspect of warmth is acceptance and honesty. If someone tells you they like football and you don't lie. Don't pretend. You can say, "I don't really follow football, but I know a lot of people enjoy it." This is not rejection, it's authenticity. People trust honesty more than agreement. When you're honest without being negative, people feel safe being themselves around you, and that mutual acceptance deepens connection. Warmth is not about pleasing others, it's about allowing truth, kindness, and openness to coexist. So let's recap. Charisma is not a performance, it's not a list of tricks, it's not manipulation. Charisma is alignment. Presence means you listen and you're comfortable in yourself. Warmth means you approach people with openness, goodwill, and generosity, without losing honesty. In the next episode, we'll talk about the third element, power, the most misunderstood part of charisma, how to project strength without dominance, confidence without arrogance, and boundaries without hostility.